I'm going to call this meeting to order. Thank everybody for coming tonight. This meeting has been advertised in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law. Can we have a roll call for this?
Writing in my slow fashion. President Jenny Lickenwalder.
Here.
Vice President Liz Kursden.
Here.
Almost an acting director. Councilman Casais.
Oh, not acting director.
No.
Here.
Former Mayor Joe DiArio.
Thank you. Here.
Pat Butler.
Here.
Dan Heavy.
Here.
And Juan.
And let the minute show that Michelle is here serving
Yes,
student.
Michelle is here.
Serving in Susan's stead. Here's your operation. Can I have a flat sleeve? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Play ball.
The minutes were not distributed ahead of time. This is the one copy. So I'm going to pass this around and we will table the minutes until the end of the meeting. So provide any comments.
There's not a lot there because the center of the meeting, I was not here because I was out dealing with the guy who hit my car. So.
Oh, that's right.
So you will see there's a whole section that says correspondences and this. I have no notes for it because I wasn't here.
I'll fill it in and file it next.
Okay.
Financial report and action on bills. Which I have a copy.
What did he say? Yeah.
So Michelle, line item 123C, that's the annual fee then for the consortium? I said it right.
Yes, 3,800 of that was for the consortium, and then the balance was for the quarterly mailers, the overdue
The
mailers.
167.
General finance question, just because I know I missed probably 2 meetings. Did we ever vote on, no?
The salaries.
Yeah. Okay.
Not yet.
I didn't want to bring it up.
That's right. It's on the agenda.
I like to do it again. We can just start it there.
It's a small amount because I never asked a question of finances I was going to ask them. Line 144. 67, 67, and then 108. Why the jump?
Well, no, 67 is the lease for the copier, and then quarterly we're charged per copy,
Oh,
and
okay.
that's the $41,
That's $41 per copy.
and then
Okay.
that totals the 108.28 for that
Okay.
line.
That's it. I never asked a question, so I thought I would.
Good question.
They charge you per copy?
Yes.
We have that agreement up by me. It's usually like a penny per click,
Yeah.
something like that. It's something that everybody gets that touch.
It's very.
I mean, I don't know what the arrangement is, but I know up by me it's a penny per copy, which I thought was bizarre
It
at
is?
first. But everyone's like, oh yeah. I'm like,
Okay.
Then we charge.
How about-
What do we charge per copy? 10 cents.
Oh,
So we
okay.
make 9 cents.
The library's allowed to keep that money for them,
Right, and we use it for
She's
our
correct.
own
To buy,
in-house
right.
copies also.
Oh, okay.
We could charge a lot more. do they have
What is this?
Service.
copies and stuff like that. Fax, especially, but I don't know what we charge for a fax.
Do you want to cause a riot?
Rita Pharmacy charges $1 a page.
Whoa.
So if anybody comes in and wants to send a fax, we should charge them a lot of money.
Wow.
How much for the fax?
The fax is $2, kid.
Yes.
I think it's $2 for the cover and $1 for each.
Additional page.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what we
Oh, so
charge.
then it's pretty
But because
standard.
we're having
Okay.
phone issues, we're not
I
faxing.
could, yeah, like that. That's why I came in here first, forgetting about our
Right.
problem. And Susan said, well, you know we have a problem. So I went down there. Yes, I thought $1 a page was exorbitant, but if we're charging, it's fine.
We have a maximum, I think it's $10 is the max, if I'm right.
Oh, okay.
No more than $10.
Free fax.
Can fax anything, anywhere. I also had a notary right there, and she could do that for me.
Do we allow international faxes? Just for information's sake?
Not that I have to send
I
anywhere.
don't think we have international dialing with the
No,
lines,
it's to
right?
yeah.
Because that's
Just
an
out of
extra
curiosity.
charge. I think that's extra charge.
That's right.
You planning on faxing something to Cayman Islands Bank for your
Well, my didn't
account?
count.
Yeah, right. Special off-season account.
Charlie time is an offshore business.
So we bought, line item 111A, adult books, it jumps up a little bit, that's almost $1,000. How many books is that? That's a lot.
I'm not sure. Apple Books, we don't order from them that often, so I think that's what kind of brought that up a little bit.
I have to tell you, as a past librarian, still always a librarian, springtime is when you buy more, spring and right before the holidays, because that's where all the books are published in mass, more reviews go out, so traditionally, you're gonna see higher amounts before December and before April.
Oh, Apple Books is a publisher.
Apple Books is a publisher.
And those are our education books for
Oh,
children.
should be Crystal reading.
You know what, if you want to check,
Right.
they might be in the back of that.
Yeah.
It would be Apple and Baker and Taylor, the first two on there, I think. And the packing slips are attached to the invoices.
I have B and C, I don't have Apple.
It's not the first one.
No, the first one's all B and C. Apple's
They're
not
a New
listed
Jersey
on there.
publisher.
Is that, March, or is that?
March.
Baker and Taylor's a New Jersey publisher too.
What's the one with the checks, Jen?
Yeah,
The
would be
other-
in there.
Yeah, that's this month, that's the current. So it should be the first two.
They're still in some.
Children's nonfiction.
So why would it be under the category adult then?
But if you look at this sheet, it's on Baker and Teller's on the book.
Right, but
$700,
Yeah,
$800.
the Apple, the 54670 is, you said children's, right? But it's only for the adults.
I don't think that's children's books, is it?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, some are not.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
Apple Publications publishes books all the way up to high school level. So it's very possible that some of those books were purchased for the adult collection. But they feel that, I mean, I'm just guessing.
I think that Highland Green Valentine Queen. But that toss the gloss tricks for women. You're right. What's the call number?
okay,
So, yeah, that's.
all right.
Any other questions?
We'll make a motion to approve the bills as presented.
Okay.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. I'm glad that we didn't eliminate program or guest speaker. Because they would have buttons.
So talking about financials, I attended a very interesting program run by the New Jersey State Library Association in Springfield at the Springfield Public Library a couple weeks ago. By the way, if you haven't been to the Springfield Public Library, go visit, very nice. I brought some extras here. The programs that are available for us as trustees from the United Library Association and Trustee Academy are really interesting programs. And it's great for us to just keep current, find out what's going on in the state level and federal level. Would you pass them around, please? I copied a list of the programs that are courses that are available online that you can take. And you know, we have to meet, you know, that 7 credit requirement every year for state aid as trustees. I already took this class in Springfield, which was 2 credits. So now we have 5 more. And the easy way to do it is to go online and look at the different courses that they have available. They're about, I looked at them, they're about 45 minutes each, not terrible. Liz, you might want to speak, you took
Yeah,
some
I
of them, right?
did the New Jersey Library one with Victoria Roche, and it was about 45 minutes. And I gave everybody notes about that.
And you found that it was interesting,
Yeah.
you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I did it at work, and it was great, in a conference room.
And I'm also going,
Different amounts of credits for each
What?
course? Or?
I
Yes.
had it at lunch hour.
some are 1, some are 2, some are 3. They're all about 45 minutes, but it depends on, like one of the courses is Trustee Basics 1 and Part 2, so it's 2 parts. If you take both parts, I think it's 4 credits, so it's 2 each. But interesting, and good for us to know, because we are the people here for our library. We're the people that are in charge of the library making decisions all the time. So we should be up on current laws and current information. That's really important. And administrative codes. The New Jersey administrative codes were handed out. I know that Joe and Andrew are really up to date on everything with that. I'm not as much as I used to be years ago. So it was interesting for me to go. I sat at the Essex County table. I used to work in Essex County as library director, and it was interesting because as I met people that day and were talking to me about different things that happened in their public libraries, I asked about certain people I knew. Of course, the dad. I'm a very old librarian, okay? So it was like depressing after a while. But it was very good to go to the program. Interesting, Livingston Public Library had an issue with cameras that they, video cameras they had in their library. They did it mostly for security reasons, but there was big problems because one of the cameras was focused on some of the very prominent people in town and what they were borrowing. And it was on video. And they walked out the door with these items and checked them out, and it was recorded. And apparently there was some problem where they were used for information. So advice from Livingston people is if you're going to put security cameras indoors, make sure they're focused on your restrooms or stairwells, and just be very careful. So I mean, there's a lot of...
Outside.
Yeah, or outside the building would be good too. Inside would be even worse. But it was interesting. It was good, and I was glad to be there. I learned a lot. So I'm going in September to the conference, which is down in Lincroft. So I'll bring back some more information for you then.
Is the trustee conference?
Yeah.
What day is
It's
it?
very good.
Have
I
you-
remember, I think we went to 2. Liz, I remember we went to 1, and then I think I went to another one. They're actually, they are very
Oh,
good.
that's good. I'm excited about going. I think I'll see some people I know. Maybe they're still alive.
Is that during the week, or?
Yeah.
What day?
I
In
don't
September, you said?
remember.
Maybe
It's
I'll
in
take off
September.
before.
Can you send?
Oh, good.
Can you email everybody the information?
Sure. We can only send one rep, and I signed
Oh,
up already.
okay.
So,
Okay.
I mean, you can go, but if you have to pay. I went to go for free because I went to this program. They just put my name down. Oh, great. Perfect. And I called Susan and asked her if it was okay. She said, "Yeah, go for it." They asked.
It's okay,
I
man.
think I can afford
okay.
it.
But it's probably not very much, and it probably would be very informative. And if you went already, it's probably a good thing to attend. So
Good
pretty
work.
sure. Also, I have to tell you, there were a lot of trustees there that really didn't know a lot of anything. I mean, I have a little bit of background. I was a librarian before, but there were a lot of questions. So I think it's good for like everyone to be active in these programs and find out things that will be pertinent to our libraries and our community. So that's all I have to share. Thank you. And I will get you the information and send it out to all of you in case you do want to go.
Thank you. Michelle, did Susan share any correspondence with you? I don't see anything.
Okay, but sometimes there's some, usually like a card from somebody who gets me.
I don't see it, no.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, President's report. I I know that most of you, or all of you should know that the school board has decided to eliminate the libraries in elementary schools in town. No, it seems to be a done deal. The superintendent made a big point to say that he had spoken to Susan about this, and I told him that was great, but he should us about this because we run a library in a very esoteric way. But if this is going to involve changes, if the elementary school students are now expected to fulfill research requirements and meet other obligations to be done here at the library, we're going to need to make changes to hours, possibly to staffing, possibly to a lot of things. I feel like there's too many things to throw out on the table right now. But I know right now, even for my family, that the library hours don't work for us as a family. Close too early, not open all hours, things like that. And I work very part-time, and that doesn't work for us. So I can't imagine how our hours work for families with 2 full-time working parents and little kids who then need to come to our building to do work. I invited the superintendent to come and talk to us tonight about what his ideas are, what his plans are. Unfortunately, he's out of town because it's the spring break with the schools, and he already had plans. But he did say he was willing to come meet with us at any time. I was thinking rather than trying to schedule another time for all of us to get together, that we could invite him to come to our main meeting and speak. He said that Wednesday nights are good for him in general. So if that sounds good to everybody, I'm going to invite him to come because I'd really like to hear specifically what he has to say. The board meeting was not the time for us to go into that kind of detail. Needless to say, I am at like DEFCON 10 with this right now, and trying to process everything. I mean, you know, it's one of those things that we never stop being a librarian. I'm a librarian. I serve on this board with all of you. I was honestly shocked with this decision, and I really feel that it's not the right one for our
After I
community.
heard that,
But
my son has a very good friend who's on the Board of Education, and I said to him, where did I get a hold of Troy, because this is not a good thing. And he said that his response was that they're already closing libraries in Catholic schools. Like, what does that have to do with us? That was his response.
Everybody has
is a
varying
trend to that.
opinions on
I'm
it,
hearing
so-
more and more of that,
Yeah.
Oh.
especially, you know, where I'm working now, there seems to be a movement. I would like to hear what the
I would love to
reasoning
say, because I
behind
was,
it.
when he came to our first meeting, and based on, I was very impressed with what he had to say and where he was coming from. And then I felt like all the things I had heard about him from people in town, from Liz, from other people being on committees with him, I had a really positive view of him. So then when I heard I told Joe Craig, this is a wild rumor, and please don't spread it, that they were closing the libraries in elementary schools. That when they made the announcement at the board meeting, I mean, my jaw hit the floor, because I couldn't believe that something like that was decided. And then I felt he had a dismissive attitude towards libraries. You know, it was, oh, we don't even use the Dewey Decimal System. We do use the Dewey Decimal System. And I felt his focus was wrong. He was saying that books, well, don't worry about the books, don't worry about the books. I'm not worrying about the books. Burn the books for all I care, because that's not what's important. What's important is the library instruction and the librarian teaching children how to research. And that, he was saying, oh, you know, times are changing. Right, times are changing. More information being thrown at us every single day, and you need an information professional to help the kids, you know, focus and streamline and, you know, go on the Mayo Clinic website for medical information and not, you know, Joe's House of Gastrointestinal Surgery.com. Like, you know, try to, you know, find out what's good. Personal vendors. But I am going to invite him to come to next week's meeting because I think it will be important for all of us to hear. And then based on what he says, I think we need to formulate some plans for possibly some community surveys, some, you know, town hall style meetings, try to find out what people are looking for. I think even if this plan wasn't in effect, we need to be trying to adapt it to what's going on. Because I heard from a
Well,
lot
we
of
did go through a plan,
We did?
yeah,
Okay.
Friday, when Laura was here, we tried to solicit as much information. We didn't have a townwide meeting.
Okay. Well, not just like a town hall, but like a town hall, like, you know, come talk to us. And,
We,
Right.
we
Okay.
did,
Yeah.
we did, I think it was 2011.
Are you talking about the strategic plan that you
Yeah.
did?
Right, we did
I
a five,
have
we
that,
did,
actually.
we did a 5-year plan. It was either 10 or 11.
It was 11, yeah.
Yeah, we should still have it.
okay.
So,
So you should use it as a reference point, a
Mhm. Yeah.
baseline,
Okay.
because there was effort put into that,
Mhm.
and it should be at least used as a method to, if
Oh,
you're gonna reach out in different means,
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't
surveys,
aware.
whatever, we should, you know, either follow similar formats or try a different one.
and I think there should be included in there surveys that were done. There was public input given.
Okay.
There was, I think there were interviews with the staff, public, the board, and then there was interviews with Susan. So we tried to, well, I shouldn't say that. I was running for office. Laura did a lot of the work,
Okay.
most of it. So she did all of these things, and it was great. It was great. It filled one of our requirements, and it laid the groundwork for a lot of the stuff that I think we wanted to do. And if we need to update it, that's, you know,
Right.
that's what happens over time. But
The New Jersey Library Association has standards for these things that happen. Just had a friend here bring up online what their site says about exactly what we're talking about. And there's a whole pattern, a checklist, information. I can download it, bring it to the meeting, and look at it. I can send it to all of you to look at it. But there's a whole process you go through because this has happened before. We would like to think we're unique and novel when this happened, but it has happened before, and probably a lot more than we even know about. So I think New Jersey Library Association is a good place to start, because that's the standard for our state.
yeah.
If I could play the opposite role, because I think in evaluating, we need to look at all, as many sides as we can. I think what might be helpful is looking at our current statistics as of today, or maybe over the last couple of years. Because if the assumption is we're going to receive a lot more activity, we should base that on some kind of, you know, right. So we can see what the trends are, the times that the library, you know, if the data that we have is based on books used, types of books used, when they're taken out, activities, we have all these reports that say that, you know, circulation's up, it's down, we have so many programs. We should really consider trying to take all that data and say, okay, this is where we are today. Over the last couple of years, it's gone up, it's gone down. So now an event has happened, which is the closing of those elementary school libraries. How do we monitor that to see if, yeah, there is additional need, or the needs have changed? It's not about circulation, it's about, like you said, they might need guidance on how to research. Because a couple of questions that come to mind that I would like to ask is if the loss of the librarians or the library services means that students are not going to have that guidance, where's the guidance coming from? Is it going to come from their teachers? Is it going to come from us now? Is it going to come from nowhere? And so that's sort of the immediate setup that's popping in my head.
That was at the forefront of my questions.
Yeah, so, you know, and then the reasons why, was there anything presented? Did you have anything like, okay, this is what we've looked at, this is why we're doing it?
Nothing specific, it was more like, we need space
Okay,
for full day kindergarten. And the library is what we're going to use. There wasn't really anything presented. We also thought about, you know, the music room, or the gym, or cafeteria, like nothing else was presented as saying, we also looked at this, it was just the library. So that was what
okay.
gave me pause. Some community members brought up, well, why don't you combine? I mean, I don't know much about that elementary school side, because
Right.
it's school yet. About how the building works, I've never been inside Sherman School. That putting, like combining the computer room, I didn't know if it was a computer room, put the computer room with the library and the computer room. I felt like some of the board members were like, oh, there's an idea that like it hadn't been considered already. So.
Yeah,
But I
just
don't know.
more,
Yeah,
because this is the first time I'm hearing about it,
yeah, oh, okay.
so,
Yeah.
just being out of the loop a little
We
bit.
did cover.
No, just thinking.
I know
Anything said about what was happening with the materials and the volumes in each of the school
They
libraries?
will be moved into book rooms. But no forethought, no.
It's hard to understand.
Like, does the fourth grade get the exact books and the third grade gets the?
You know what sort of
Like, how does that go?
strikes me is that it would seem that there had to be a plan somewhere that talked about lack of space means that we would have to look at these options, just like we have an existing plan.
Right.
Some of that was probably in place prior to him arriving. I'm, again, making an assumption, but that would be another question I would ask. Is there something in place that, okay, now we've hit that mark of we need more space, and we're going back to the 2011 plan, and we're acting that way? Because it just seems like you have to put a little, or considerable thought when you're making a change like that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's,
Maybe that wasn't communicated, I don't know, it was not to
I
me.
don't think it was, I think at the, you were at the meeting.
Yeah, the problem is that they had been discussing it for a while, but what happens is that, you know, not everybody goes to every Board of Ed meeting.
Right.
So I'm sure like those things are discussed and we don't always read them, so I really wanna see his presentation on it, cause I know he's been talking about it. Cause I'm part of the strategic planning committee for the school district. It's been reviewed and actually we didn't even go over that.
Nothing was said
At the
at
committee.
those meetings.
So I'm sure that the board was doing some kind of meetings, but, you know, he needs to really express that. I know he's met with like the PTAs at the schools, he's met with the principals, and he's discussed it with them, so, and he needs to discuss it.
If you can't make it to the next meeting, is it possible we can schedule an additional meeting so that we can move it?
Well, I was gonna make a suggestion since May is my annual
Oh, right, your annual.
conference, away that week. If
Oh,
you can
that's
meet,
specifically.
that's the same week
You
as the
can-
21st. If you can move it up,
Sure.
that would help me. My apologies, Tuesdays are bad for me because I teach on Tuesdays.
Yeah, well, we've been moved to Tuesdays for the past couple of months.
Yeah.
I had a meeting on Wednesdays, but now that's done, so.
Okay.
Do you wanna do
No
the
problem.
14th?
Yeah. Yeah,
13th is a Tuesday.
the 14th.
14th?
Wanna do the 14th of Wednesday, is that okay?
Yeah, actually, the 13th is my last Tuesday class.
I can do the 14th.
14th is very sure.
Yeah, the 14th is
Because number one's done.
Okay, so I'll get in touch with Susan and just agree on see if that's a good day for everybody. Switch that. Yeah,
There's
Just
just
send out an email.
difficulty with the,
that's okay, we can always do that.
okay.
Yeah, I'd rather have it sooner.
Yeah, I think it's better to be sooner in case we have.
Yeah, it's okay about the bills. That happened at another meeting, it's
It
caught
did,
up and it was fine.
Because I'm doing bills up to the night.
Yeah, yeah, no,
before,
no,
they're
and we
coming in
had
yesterday
caught up
and
last
getting
time,
on
and I,
the list, right.
yeah, did that work out okay the
It
last time
worked
that we
fine.
did that?
It
Okay,
worked
all right, I don't
fine.
want to make extra work for you, so, okay.
It's fine.
All right, I don't mind signing extra stuff. Okay.
14th is great.
Okay.
Great.
Before then, I will email you the state information that I mentioned. So you
Okay.
have all that to look at.
Thanks for sharing. I don't,
I,
interesting, I'm the typical Russell Park citizen.
yes.
You are, that's right.
You can always come to
That's some
report about
information I
meetings, you know,
What's that?
you can always visit with us.
Yeah.
And also with that,
Everyone's
3
fine.
positions are leaving also, 3 librarians' positions. The 3 librarians will be losing their positions.
They already did.
Okay, so they're not reassigning them to something else?
No.
No.
Children's Department report, I should have gotten
On
that.
that same subject, I'm sorry, because I got my head thinking.
Yeah.
Do you think we should,
Budget.
yeah, that helps, right? For my interest. Do you think, we maybe could circulate a list of questions as we get to the 14th? We could sort of circulate questions amongst us and then come into the meeting with all those questions, right?
Yes, yes, do that. That's a really good idea.
And I sent an email to you.
Yeah, you
So
email
that
me.
we're prepared, we're not all sitting here going,
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
reply to all and we'll
Yeah.
do
Yeah,
a
exactly.
list.
And
Yeah,
then maybe
and then
send
I-
Susan to, like on the 13th, just take all the questions and put them together.
Right,
So when we
yeah.
come in, we can just,
And maybe we can email it to Mr. Dorito ahead of time so he has
So
a
he's
heads up.
prepared. Yeah,
I
well,
think that would be a bad idea.
who wants to be the collector of the questions?
Send me the questions, I'll compile them,
Okay.
and I can send them to him,
okay.
like a week ahead of time and say, here's, and then obviously if you come up with anything
Yeah,
in
yeah.
that in our week, then that's fine.
That way he has a head start too. and
Yeah,
we'll-
I don't want to blindside him either, I want to kind of like, because at the board meeting, they said, oh, we're gonna answer your questions. And then everybody's asking questions, and then there was a little bit of this, and oh, due to legal reasons, we can't answer your questions. Which is understandable, but.
Two more board meetings coming up, April 22nd and 29th, I think.
April 22nd.
22nd, right? Or
Is this Tuesday?
yes, April 22nd
This
and
Tuesday
April
coming.
29th.
You know, it's interesting, because if they're removing the services and reducing staff, then, and if that's gonna be
You're not
what's,
reducing staff,
They're
you
not.
keep the librarian position will become a full-day kindergarten position.
Right, they're adding.
oh, so it's not reassigning, it's just gonna be, the monies are gonna be
The
shifted
money is-
over.
Correct,
And the
To
media
pay for the
we're not
specialists.
increasing anything.
Full-time
I was
person.
gonna say, work an interlocal agreement with us, and we could,
I was thinking the same thing,
Yeah.
because
you know,
they're,
we're providing the services that are not gonna
give
be
us the
existing.
money, and, you know.
This is, I guess this is school media specialists have master's degrees. I didn't know this, but since they're coming in.
Work out the agreement.
It's
Especially if we have to open up additional hours.
Well, it's not just that,
Just
it's
because
books,
of the-
materials, it's a lot of
That's a good one.
I'm sure they, we all try to work into locals, I mean, that's shared services.
Good try, good try.
That way we
Not
can
gonna
keep the
work.
0%.
There you go.
It's a totally
Yeah.
different world.
No problem.
Good try there, Joe.
If we have to expand hours and staffing,
We'll find out.
but that's why if you set the baseline, we can monitor that. We can
Right,
come up with a legitimate, hey, this is what's happening.
We'll find out more details, I'm sure. We'll answer it.
Do you think
I'll get my mind out.
something just came through the brain? Do you think that the schools have any sort of data on, let's use the word historically, what research kids have the most questions about? I'm only thinking that if they cut out the librarian who are good to ask questions of, but we know that their questions are usually in this area or this area or this area. When we come up with whatever we're gonna need to do to help fill the void, we might take resources in those areas, put them in one place.
Okay.
So that when the kids
Oh.
come in,
Like how the fourth
whoever,
grade does a project. on
whoever
teachers.
Right.
is
That's
at
a
the
good
desk
idea.
and they ask the question of, can direct them to
We can probably control on that.
Yeah.
that.
Even
I'm sure
without
the
that.
principals,
Yeah.
Oh,
principals
okay.
can help us a little bit.
Also, with the school libraries closing, this is interesting. You know, when a librarian in the children's department or the adult department, excuse me, you know, or a children's librarian purchases books and materials, they're looking at the public. They're looking at a different way of purchasing materials for the public. If we're going to have to fill a need for the schools, we're going to have to look at all the curriculum guides. That person's going to have to look at all what's required and see if they have to be able to purchase these materials in addition that may or may not be the materials they would have bought anyway. How can I explain? A children's book in a specific area on cooking may just be a book on cooking for recreational use for children, and that's why it was purchased originally. But if you're purchasing to teach metric equivalence or measuring or something to go with the school curriculum on grade 2, then you have to purchase a different type of book. So the burden becomes even more specific for the public people.
Well, that's interesting. Are they gonna still fulfill their book requirements based on
That
their
is
curriculum?
interesting. That's very interesting.
And the location of those books?
Okay, so write those questions down.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
that's
we're
who's gonna
presenting,
do the
okay.
collection development.
Yeah, these are all things that come into play, and it's tough, because I used to do this. In fact, I was working part-time this week out in Bridgewater as a consultant, and we're looking at guided reading text sets for the schools to go with the new core curriculum standards. And you know, there's a lot of things that come into play with this, and we're talking big money here, because books are not cheap.
Right. And are we going to have access to those books if children need them? The ones that are in existence that are still using them for their core curriculum,
That's right, they're in the school libraries then.
do we have to have some kind of mobile
That's
service
one of the
between
things that they were discussing as a possibility. Bookmobile. Go for it,
I
girl.
mentioned that as a last meeting.
Jenny,
All right,
over
bring
here.
up bookmobile. I drop all of them.
There you go. So after that, seriously, I love bookmobiles. I remember those when I was in school.
It's a huge responsibility for a public library to take
Bookmobile
on
was
this
the
endeavor.
best.
Right.
It's
I
all
love
I'm saying,
bookmobiles.
okay?
They're
Best
wonderful.
thing.
Because you're looking at
They're the coolest
specific
thing ever.
needs to address educational issues.
Well,
And
Different
perhaps that's not our goal.
I would love to know, since Jenny mentioned that they're putting these books in book rooms, I would love to know who's putting them there.
And how are you gonna check
Did,
it out?
did,
How are
did,
they
did,
gonna
did
bring
they
it
get, did they get put there by the librarians,
It's a
before
good
the
question.
librarians
Jot them
left?
down,
Yeah,
guys.
we already
Or
know
did they-
Down.
or
Yeah,
did
we're
they
not
just
gonna know
have
he's
a-
not here.
They just have a porter
So go for
taking
it.
books
then.
and sticking them
Traditionally,
someplace,
And make sure you give him a
no
heads
order,
up, okay?
and they're just stuck in his room.
Let me explain about the book rooms a little bit. With guided reading in the schools, books are text sets and they're labeled according to levels, A, B, C, D, E, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going all the way up to grade 8. These book rooms are just usually closets or a little bit bigger, and they have all different holders. And in each holder you have sets of books, like your kids come home with the ABC
Right.
books or book 1, 2, 3, or whatever the numbers or letters are in that level. So I'm wondering, because they're probably full already, but then as the year goes on, teachers borrow those books, take them to the classroom. So I'm wondering the possibility of them putting more books in there. I don't know how that could work, because I don't know how much space they're gonna have.
Good question, Pat. Write it down.
I know, I wrote it
Yeah,
down
come
already,
on,
sorry.
guys, write it down.
But that's
We're
what
gonna
these
find
book
out when
rooms
we ask
are,
them.
and they're actually they're very teaching oriented. They're not like a library book room. It's hard to visualize them, but they're different, for a different purpose.
Well, that's why I asked the question, because
Yeah.
if librarians or somebody that knows the setup put them in there, that's one thing. But if all of a sudden one day they said to the porter, take the books from Mrs. Smith's room down to the book room, and they just take them in and stick them wherever there's room, all of a sudden your very carefully laid out process goes,
Yeah. We definitely need his input on how this will happen.
So yeah, let's give him a week heads up with all the questions so he has a preparation for us. It's a good idea.
I guess we shouldn't stand outside with signs.
No.
Take an objective view of this. Not go in with, it's not difficult.
Yeah, no, I think we wanna give him the benefit of the doubt, I don't think he's,
He doesn't play libraries.
no, but that he isn't just like going in, like slashing him or like for the heck of it, I know he's not doing that,
No.
I know that he thought that this was the best decision. I happen to disagree with that, so,
It's fair.
but that's,
Which we're entitled to do, it could be,
this is America.
You can disagree.
But you received the children's department report and the director's report in the email, so.
Oh, they approved the sprinkler system.
Yes,
Excellent.
yes,
Yay.
yes.
Okay, we can order down the pants.
We're very excited about it.
Yeah.
We're excited about this sprinklers. And the doors, too.
That's what it says.
It
Sprinklers
says
are
that
approved.
It may very well say that. Let's,
So, okay, we need to hear from
Oh.
Well,
Andrew.
when,
well, why don't we wait till the report of lead?
Okay.
when the mayor was here last meeting, he said that the money was there for the doors. Money was already in the budget for the doors.
That is correct.
And he said that as far as he could tell, I think is what he said, that there was money there for the sprinklers. But I don't think he was as firm in his
I didn't.
consideration about sprinklers. But
80, you know what, here's where, and this is probably just me, because we did have a long discussion about the sprinkler system at one of the capital budget meetings. Actually, not long, we just discussed it, they're all long. The ADA approved doors, definitely dedicated capital item through the current draft of the bond ordinance, separate for the library. The sprinkler system is probably not going to be a dedicated library. Yes, the answer is yes. I believe the sprinkler system is in there. It's probably under buildings and grounds.
I think that's what he said.
It's
He said
probably,
under
it's probably under buildings and grounds, but not necessarily under the library, which it doesn't matter for the purposes of this building. It's just the way, where we put the money.
Okay.
I think that's what he said. I think he said
I'm
he could-
trying to remember. We had a few
I think that's
meetings.
what he said. I stand corrected.
Yeah, well,
She's that's differently on her photo.
yeah, the trustee issues on the bottom will bring up other full spending.
I don't say for the library, just.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't put anything into it, it's probably just me. Yeah, because it was, you know what, the request came in from, no, there was no request for sprinklers. I'm just wait until my time. There's too many things floating around up there.
Ellen is not here, so we do not have a report from the superintendent.
Oh, good.
Your turn.
Now you make.
So, just to go back to this issue, although I don't think we should dwell on it anymore, because there were a lot of good questions, but they can't be answered until the superintendent is here. The council did discuss this at the last meeting when we were tying up the current fund budget, which is our operating budget. Our decision was for 2014 to keep the library at the amount that we had previously agreed upon, which was the original request. When that original request was put in, we didn't know about this. And frankly, we don't know the full implications. We don't know. We have the same questions you guys do. Our plan was to let you guys speak to the school district. Once whatever is implemented, once we understand what's going on, if it does have a reasonable financial impact on the library, we'll have discussions toward the end of the year, and then we're going to work in the 2015 budget to adjust that. With that understood, if it does impact the library somewhat significantly in the last 3 months, because we're talking about it will be implemented for the following year, which will be September, October, November, December of the school district year. You do have surplus that you can use for that money. Now, obviously, you don't want to use that money, but you do have that little bit of cushion. And if you do start to use significant amounts of that money over and above what you would have used or not have used as part of your operating budget for this year, the council has agreed to have that discussion next year. And it'll be on the recommendation of the library board about what has changed since the implementation. Unfortunately, the municipality has had no bearing on the decision, so we're kind of in the same boat you guys are. So since it's impacting you directly, we're letting you do the talking. Obviously, if you need us to do something, just let me know, and we'll facilitate something, whatever that may be. But we just want to let you know that we understand, we've taken it into account. We had, I think it was a 15 to 20 minute discussion on the whole matter, and we were tossing around the same questions about how is this going to affect. Is it going to be library staff? Are they going to send teachers over with the kids? What's the arrangement going to be? So we don't know either. But we have an understanding that things are going to change, whatever those changes are. We don't know, and we'll deal with that, you know, when the time comes. Yes, the ADA doors, I know the mayor talked about it at the last meeting. The ADA doors are in the current draft. They're going to be in the final draft. The sprinkler system is under buildings and grounds, improvements to buildings and grounds in the current draft. Will be in the final draft. I'm 95% sure on that. 100% sure on the library doors. Any other questions for me?
I do. On the ADA doors, I'm just thinking, we have 2 sets of doors right now. Are we having 2 sets of doors also? Because you know the kids are going to have a blast going back and forth in that door.
2 sets of doors.
Because you know them.
They're going to be sliding.
Okay. So 2 sets of sliding doors.
Mm-hmm. 2 sets of, you mean just,
Because there's a
when
front,
you say 2 sets, you mean?
there's a front
No,
door.
you walk in and then
Right.
you walk in the second door.
Right.
The vestibule area, so it's
Is there going to be a vestibule? Because you know in the winter, if you don't have a vestibule, it's going to be
Oh, yeah.
cold.
May I make a suggestion, because I've lived through this over the last 2 months, just as all our AD doors, we had to change our plan. We had one door slide, which is the outside door, and the door inside swamped, because it also slowed down the rush of air that came in.
It's going to be very cold.
Because we do the sliders, both are going to be open at the same time, especially if someone stands in the middle.
And there'll be those kids that'll be,
Yes. And then
or
we have
someone
the-
holding a barcode up
We
for
have
a
to change
beaver.
it.
you know,
Unfortunately,
that
I
is-
don't remember if we're going to retrofit this door or with an ADA compliant. The issue, and I don't know why a retrofit wouldn't work, I wish I remembered the conversation exactly, is just the amount of space that we have over there.
Could you explain a retrofit?
Just to make it so that it'll be the same door, but there's a mechanism to automatically open it.
Like,
Yeah,
It could
use
swing
the
out.
swung door.
like hospitals and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, I know there was an issue about the amount of space in the vestibule area and outside. There's not enough space on the outside to have the swinging doors, so we have the sliding doors. The inside, obviously, not obviously. I don't think it's not going to be a sliding door. I don't think it's going to be a sliding door.
Do you remember the vendor that you were working with? Same one. There's one that does a lot of it.
Just because I just realized kids love playing. with
I'll
sliding
confirm that and I'll send an email to
doors. It'd be like a field day.
to you guys.
Okay.
Anything else?
I don't know if you would have this information yet. Do you know what the library surplus balance is at 12/31/13? It might be your annual financial statement. You're probably just sort of this came out. It's not audited yet. Because you haven't got through the audit yet. But just, maybe just email Ken and ask.
Yeah, I'll ask them.
Just to see
This is
if
another
there's
one of these things I didn't know.
Well, no, I mean, you know, can't be expected to drop it. Just to know.
Oh, thanks.
Reports of officers and standing committees. Reports of special committees. Make a motion to open the public portion of our meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Any members of the public like to speak?
Jacob McCarroll, 612 Sheridan Avenue. A couple of questions. Where is Susan this evening?
Not here. Not here. That's all I know.
Where's Mayor Cardi?
Not here.
We have
Andrew's here.
Comment. Libraries are more than books. How many children and adults visit the library each week?
That's a good question. We don't have a door counter. I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can see if we can find that out, but, or an estimate, we try to get an estimate, so. Yeah, but since we don't have a door counter, it's hard to, even with a door counter, one person can go in and out 20 times, and it doesn't mean anything, so.
Those kids using the ADA doors.
I'm telling you.
Yes.
Have a field day.
For the barcode testers.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll see if I can get some close information on that for you, this should be helpful.
We should we need to check off those with me.
There's probably a formula for circulation plus programs and figure out a rough estimate, so.
Anything else, Steve?
That's it.
Anybody else?
Seeing none, I'll make a motion to close.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions? Nay? All opposed? Abstentions? It's been long. Okay. All right, old business, Susan requested that we approve the 2014 salary increments. I think that since Susan is not here tonight, I think we should table it until the next meeting. Any other?
Closing the library at 4 on Fridays. She wanted to know.
Yes, I was gonna put that under
I'm
new
sorry.
business because we had discussed it.
Sorry.
I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, new business, approve the closing of the library at 4 o'clock on Friday, beginning July 1st. We have done this for the past couple of years.
When should we start?
I guess after Labor Day, the Friday after Labor Day. I think it is, yeah.
I have no problem. She started before,
Yeah.
it's ready for them.
Okay. Have a motion to approve?
So, second.
You can have the motion.
And the other board one, I'm not allowed to. Of course. So, all right, all in favor of that, so we'll put that down. Any other?
Did we ever, I'm sorry, back to old business, have we ever contacted Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts regarding the flowers?
No.
Because May's coming down.
I want to hold off on it now since we're going to have sprinklers and everything. I think
trees are not gonna get me.
Yeah, that's
So
what I think.
All right.
I think with all of the other lawn and other issues, and with, if we need to be focusing on
Sure.
rescuing our community from the frozen waters.
All right, Jane.
Well,
Just
just an idea.
Nothing, she just getting all
We just
dramatic.
want the library to
I'll
look
just
pretty for
pontificate.
Memorial
It's
Day.
all right, just leave her.
For the
Yeah.
ceremony. If we had to, just like a quick fix, because with
I
this
think the pots are an
possibility,
idea.
I had an idea of just buying our beautiful flowers in pots,
There's some
putting them
beautiful
around in a
vases.
circle, like an hour before the hour before the ceremony, keep it looking pretty out there, and then whisk them away right after that, because if the trees come down right in between or whatever, this way they won't be in harm's way, and then later, when everything's done, then we can really plan
Yeah,
for
we
it.
have some.
We did discuss a long-term plan for the grounds. I think this is where, it's all coming back. The sprinkler system, it's all part of trying to make it look a lot nicer with the understanding that it is a gathering place that's really nice for kids outside and they play and we don't want to stop that. When the tree comes down, there's going to be a lot more sun. And we're hoping that instead of just buying sod and putting it out there and then it's going to die because there's no water, that's the irrigation system. And then there was a whole discussion about, doing different things on the library grounds just to make it more attractive, even though it is beautiful now, just to make it more aesthetically pleasing all year long. I'll give you more details when I get them, but I think it's all part of the plan.
But are the pots okay with you guys? Like the flower pots out there? I'll tell you what. You want to take them down the street tomorrow? Hey, now, wait a minute, they might come to my house first.
Our house is closer.
There you go. He's right.
That's a great idea.
Just to make it.
Any other new business issues, concerns?
Oh, I wanted to know how the library felt about this. Also part of these discussions, we talked about removing the tree that's in the middle of town, the Christmas tree that is now a circle, relocating our holiday tree to the library grounds.
Leaving the tree, or are they gonna move that actual tree?
Removing, taking the Christmas tree and moving it to the library property.
Replanting.
No, I'm sorry. Getting a new tree.
Oh.
Oh, now that's you
That
just
tree, that tree is gone.
Yeah, it's dead.
You'd have to take
That
down
is
more than
gone,
one
yes.
tree to get that tree in here.
That sounds fine, as long as it's
There you
located in a
go.
space where it's gonna get a
Right,
lot of sun,
It-
because those evergreens need.
right, and it can't be.
shaded there,
I don't
right?
know
Well,
about this, I'm out
it's
there a lot.
It's a
looking
lot
at stuff.
shaded in part because of the current tree that's there. So we'd have to take a look because it can't be planted in the same place as the current tree, as the current tree that's going to be removed from the library grounds. So it'll have to be somewhat in a different location than that. I just wanted to know the general idea. If everyone didn't like the idea, I wanted to bring that back to council and say we got to.
Was the question of having the holiday celebrations here instead?
Oh,
And not
it-
having it in the
Gazebo, that would be, I guess. I mean, in all honesty, when it was first brought up, I didn't want to. I thought it was nice to have it down by the gazebo, but everybody, I would say everybody but me liked the idea of having it at the library. And then I said okay, because it's not offensive to me. It's just different.
My initial reaction is just wait to get persuaded for presented with enough information. But the initial reaction is it's taking away from the concept of the center of town. You're now shifting the focus to the library. So, and down further away from the business district. So those are my immediate thoughts. That's not such a good idea because of that.
That, and my question is, there's a lot more parking by the
True.
gazebo
I don't have immediate parking.
than there is here.
I mean, I think that.
I don't know how well attended
I-
the holiday
No,
thing is.
Oh, it is,
We're
it's
out
very
to-
well attended, but- and
Oh, I
my,
think
my
that's
reaction
We
to
have a
that,
lot of side streets.
my reaction to that
You
would be,
think so?
I usually walk
I
there,
walk
it's not
everywhere,
that
so.
far.
I guess my immediate reaction to that is
So-
now accepting it would be, it's one day a year.
Yeah.
People will park down there and
Right,
they'll
and
walk down here,
They've
and then they'll
also
walk to the
facility
Casano Center for that tradition. I mean,
Or put it in the back of the
Can I
facility
ask?
center.
Yep.
One of the trees that's coming down, is it one of those pin oaks that's coming down? Those two pin oaks, those big ones?
I keep on being told it's called a tulip, and I don't,
Oh, I know where that one is, but I mean, in addition to the tulip, is the second tree?
no,
The
the only,
reason I'm
the only
asking
trees
this-
coming down here,
Because I'm out there with my camera, I've been looking especially because we're on buildings and grounds, Liz and I. Those trees provide such shade out there, I don't know if you're gonna be able to grow a really big, nice evergreen with the amount of sun you have out there, seriously. It's the direction, you know, and.
She's right,
The
you have to knock one
orientation,
of those down.
You know, there's all these barricades in between, unless you took one or two of those pin oaks down,
well,
and
I
not
mean,
even then I would question.
our arborist is gonna have to take a look at it.
Right, that's what I was gonna say, some kind
but
of a plan
That
first.
one is definitely coming down, that one is definitely coming down in the middle of town. The one on the library grounds, the tulip,
Yeah, I know,
is
that
coming
one is in
down.
sad shape. That needs to be-
and the pine tree right by
Yeah.
the pathway. I would just throw it out there because I just happened to remember it. I mean,
So what's going to go in its place? What's going to be filled with that space?
I don't know.
But
You know, I don't know if it'll be
Yeah.
a different tree, some kind of, I don't know.
I
really
think a
don't.
good wait and see is
I
great,
think,
like
I
once
think
they
if the
know
arborist comes in and
And-
gives a recommendation
recommendations.
and says a couple of more trees have to come out to make room or whatever, I think if we're gonna make this the holiday spot and put the tree out there and have, I don't think we should fight too much about losing a couple more trees. To make room for it, to make room
Well,
for it
I
to
think
grow, to
just-
make room for people to be able
Depends
to
on
see
which
it.
trees you're taking down here.
Yeah, I mean, but I think, that's where the arborist comes in.
Well, okay, I mean, just a matter of looking at the steps, and not that I don't want to continue conversation, but this tree is going to go, the first thing that's going to go is the tree that's currently on the library property. And once that's down, we'll have a better idea of what's been providing shade, what we can really work with, and then maybe we'll have this conversation later in the year
Sounds
about what we'll
So
do.
when's the tree array will go down?
There's no schedule yet for it, but it can be taken down, I think. It can be taken down in-house. So it's not like, with this tree, we have to
Yeah, I'm just trying
contract
to think
for
of the
it.
timing. You know, if you're looking to take that down prior to the holidays, then when do things this board need to make a decision on our opinion on that?
I mean,
Because you gotta have time for the tree here to
Plants,
be,
right, so, you know, whatever.
to be set in.
well, I mean, the idea would be,
Viable.
we would get we wouldn't be buying a sapling, we'd be buying, 30-foot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it would be a full-grown tree
Not,
that'd have to go
not,
out.
not Charlie Brown Christmas.
But that,
No,
but that would
we're
be
not gonna buy another
something-
shuttle tree.
No Charlie Brown tree. That would be something the town landscaper would also be involved in.
Well, you don't want to-
I do
It
like
would
the
be
shuttle
nice to
tree.
have the whole place
I love the
landscaped.
shuttle tree, just, not for our Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Just an idea. That could be done, inexpensively, because there's just so much, there's so many big roots in there, they have to be dug up, and a lot of concerns
Shuttle
out
tree
there.
takes less lights.
We all set? So our next meeting is May 14th. Make sure I get in touch with Susan and the superintendent and make sure everybody's good with that. Have a motion to adjourn.
Make sure it's advertised.
I'll motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, thanks.
We wanna move.